But I wanted to show you something that we did, like a 9-hour road trip. We left at 10, we got home at 9. 11-hour road trip to go get this clock. That is it. That massive beauty on the end. More to follow on that. Got the little coil hanging at the bottom. The rabbit is a full-size rabbit. Pheasant, full-size. Door is really pretty. Little bird. Face is in pretty good shape. The nails are, the little numbers are nailed on. This big piece comes out. Look at that tassel. Guns are nice. And then this big guy here. Gorgeous eyes. Looks like he's looking at me. Everything, the neck hairs. I've got his massive antlers. I'll show you those. It came with these weights. It's an 8-day. They're super heavy. Came with this little dinky pendulum. I don't know about that there, but it's so far behind that bag that hangs down you can't see it anyway. Check these out. There's those antlers. Twice the size of my hand. It's a beauty. It's gonna look really good hanging up. I'll show you the inside when we get it somewhere soft that I can turn it over. The topper actually screws on, so I gotta take these screws out to take the topper off and be able to turn it over on something. But the wood's in really good shape. It's about 100 years old. Should be from the 1920s. Should have a catwheel movement. I don't know. We haven't even turned it over and opened it. I peeked through this side door at one point to see that movement. So I know it's got the original movement. And the bellows. The gong gonged at us on the way home. It was vibrating a little bit. But yeah, we're going to get into this project. I was saying I hope Thanksgiving's not at my house because the table's covered with the big clock. And it does need some work done to it. But I think I'm just going to do a little bit of stuff and get it hung because we are going to have Thanksgiving at my house. So that's 2 weeks from yesterday. I did get it flipped over. Here's the movement. Bellows are in good shape. I think they're replacement tops because the guy said he redid the bellows and stuff like that. But I found this. This was interesting. Here is my pendulum leader wire. Comes down and is soldered to another pendulum leader wire because there's the end of that one. And then there's the beginning of another one right here. And then it goes through the bottom of the case. And I was suspicious because this was the thing that came with it, all cut off, and it was super high up under there, and you couldn't see it. And that's because you can barely get it short enough to make it run, apparently, with this huge blob of solder on there. So I've got to get a new pendulum leader wire on here and some actual chains. These chains are super short, not going to run very long. And I've got some antique chains that I bought. I just saw them on eBay and bought them in case I ever needed them in an antique movement. So I'm going to do that today. So I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Many projects I'm working on at the same time, which is not good. I got my Cuckoo Oompa Band player clock. But anyway, hope y'all enjoyed this video. I hope it helps you work on a OG movement. Looking for them. They're out there. They're reasonably priced. And they're simple to work on. Y'all have a great day. Thanks for watching. Okay, today we're going to start on the giant cuckoo clock. It is laid out here on my dining room table. There's the topper. I'll put it together and show you. I am gonna try to curb my comments on the previous owner. I'll just show you this as an example. Here is the pendulum cut off, loose, with cellophane tape on it. So that kind of sums it all up, okay? Multiple things he did that I will be undoing, such as how the topper was attached. I had to get screws undone to get the topper off. The eye hooks on the back that they're supposed to have a hook on the roof and then go into these. He had just put screws through the roof and cracked the roof, and it was hanging on about 1/8 inch of wood, so that's not good. It came with 4 eye hooks. There's 4 holes in the roof, 4 holes on the back, so I'll be putting those back. But I'll show you what the top looks like, maybe. Give me a second to put the antlers on. When he was taking it down from his wall, he grabbed this antler by the end and tried to pull it up and broke the end off of it, so I had to repair it. And since this was screwed on, he didn't want to take it off and whacked it on the door going out the door. So anyway, it was not a pleasant buying experience. Let's just leave it at that. If I could have gotten it one owner sooner, that would have been good, because he also put some kind of coating on this thing. I don't know what it might be. Did a pretty good job. There's not too many runs, but there are some runs, and it's like super shiny. So I'll probably be having to take some steel wool and dull it back down a little bit. All right, there's the topper. It's a beautiful clock. The movement is not marked, but it's a Hubert Herr. It matches an antique Hubert Herr sold online and the one that's in the Hubert Herr factory. Although the factory's closed, I've got a website page with Reinhold Herr next to this giant cuckoo clock in the factory before it closed. So alright, so let me set this down, and I'm going to turn the clock over. 2 little levers to hold the door. There's our gong. Got good sound. Alright, here is the movement. It was running on the wall. I've unhooked the cuckoo bird already. It was not removable from the front door initially, because when this person put whatever coating, they coated the door and basically glued the wire for the cuckoo bird to the door, and so the cuckoo wouldn't come out of the wire wouldn't come out of the hole for me to unhook it, but I managed to get it unhooked so I can take this movement out now, get it cleaned and oiled. So let's go from there. I undid the bellows so I could take the wires off of them. This one had a screw and a nail. This one only had a screw. And this is the ring that is supposed to be holding my topper on. So I've got the 4 rings at least to put back in the topper, and I can put regular lift hooks on this. There's also no cuckoo lift wire. He just came out like he has the articulating wings. But no lift wire going up to him, so I've got to add a lift wire. It's got good sound. But I got ahead of myself. I didn't take the hands off, so let me take these wires off and flip it back over. There is one thing that was different about this. The gong and the spring that's normally on this is attached to a little screw over here. So I took that off. This is kind of mangled up too, so a little bit of adjusting to do when we clean. But let me flip it back over so I can take the hands off. So it's got an odd nut here. It's not the usual regular flat nut, decorative nut. This is a pendulum rating nut that's on there. The numbers are nailed on, but the hands look like they're a heavy plastic. Well, they've even got some spray on them. Golly, okay. Don't say anything, don't say anything. Now we can turn it over and take it out. Oh, let's take it out. I've already taken the pendulum leader wire off because it was 2 4.5 inch roughly leader wires soldered together. I've got some piano wire coming so that I can make a new one that's a single leader wire that's not got the heavy blob of solder on it. Alright, there's our movement. Still not sure why that would be on the case instead of on the movement itself. I don't know if someone changed that later. Very heavy wire on the gong. The gong is really cool. I think it's got a leather insert in there. The gong hammer. I'll be replacing these. They're rusty. Parts are pretty dirty. It definitely needs a good cleaning. Let's get these chains off. The chains are metal. They're not brass. And they're pretty rusted. And I've got some brass ones to put on it that are from an antique clock. Hopefully they're going to fit. Alright, let's take this to the desk and take it apart. I'm going to measure this plate. It's a couple millimeters thick maybe. Looks pretty thick. Cam is all the way to the front. That's different. It's usually more toward the back or the middle. Very nice gears. Removable verge. Alright. Everything was working on the wall when I went and looked at it to purchase it. Let's see if I can... This Cuckoo bird wire is so tall. It's way up there. Let's see if I can trip the other part. Those are rubbing. Not shutting off without the spring attached. I'll hold it. Alright, so with the spring it pops down in there good. Shuts off, it's locked. Let's just put it on the case for a minute and see what happens. Okay. Not tight enough, obviously. This is bent way out. It's not even touching the Cuckoo. But it does fall down in there. Okay. Alright, well, I believe we are ready to take this apart. The feet are so loose they're spinning around, so these nuts are not tight at all. Maybe they're tighter than I thought. The feet are just loose. The feet screw on the other side with threads. So they're just loose. So let me get the right size little socket. I've taken the little feet off. Since they were so loose, it still doesn't come apart. It looks like it would, but I'm going to go ahead and take this stuff off the front. Oh, that is in there tight. Ah, there we go. All this is going to clean up very well. There's a groove in one side of that. Don't know why. Groove in both sides. No, that side's flat, just dirty. That side has a little groove made into it. Pipe looks to be in good shape, just really dirty in there. Really dirty on here. Some oil that's not hardened. It's thick like grease, but it's not hardened yet. There's our 2 pins. Nobody's bent them out of shape. That's nice. Sometimes to get it to go off when they want, they start bending these instead of adjusting this. Has been run a fair amount because that looks like a groove that's been worn in it by these. Wow. Maybe they put grease on it instead of oil because it's feeling like grease. Okay. Take this little wire back off. Some chunk of something just fell out of it. And we got a little spring wire here. There's a spring wire right there. Oh, that's the gong spring wire. Okay, well that's just a lift. That's easy. Come on. Some parts were tightened very tight for some reason. This does not need to be so tight it's about to be stripped. Let me find the right one to get this off so I don't damage my screw. That doesn't fit down in there very well. It fits down in there a little better, a little bit not as wide as I would like, but okay, goodness gracious. Somebody's screwdriver slipped while they were cranking it so tight. Nice little Philister screw. And there's our count wheel. Alright, take this pin out and everything should slide apart. Wow. That bent. Let me straighten that, get that pin out. Okay, finally got it. The end of it broke off. I couldn't push it through. I finally remembered I was using my pliers that didn't have much teeth, and I got the ones with the lines on them and was able to pull it out from this side with the little tiny piece that was still sticking out over here. So let's see if that little guy will come off of there. Need my hand pullers. Got these tiny little set. Let's see if I can get under there. Not really. Not having luck here. That fit under it. My tiniest little screwdriver blade. Little gunky. Definitely needs to be cleaned. Why did they do this, man? So the one in the, oh great, dropped them both. Little Phillister screws, but they're not interchangeable. The one in the count wheel is a lot shorter so that it doesn't hit things inside the clock. So there's usually a stationary pin on there that holds this. Okay, so that's loose. Not too rusty, it fits a little rusty. Pivots look good, a little bit of wear on that one. And we'll definitely have to polish these up. That one's got a big groove in it I'll have to take out. Looks like it's bent a little crazy. We'll check it out. Alright. Looks like they put that in and cut it off, and it made a tiny little bit of a lip, which is making it not want to come off of there. So this post unscrews if you need to take it out. Definitely need to clean out the junk off of this thing. And chances are good, yep, I can see ridges worn in this U-wire, so I'll be changing it out. Alright. I played with it a little bit just to see how it works. So right there it's locked. If I lift the arm, you can see this cam is holding the arm right here. So when it goes into warning, there's this arm comes around and has another wire on the front that is between this wheel and the cam. And it comes up. Let me lock it again. So I'm going to come into warning. You can see that other arm lifting up right there, the little wire arm. And it catches the warning pin and holds it till it goes out of warning. Lets it go around. I don't know what I'm hitting on. It worked great when I did it on for my demo, but now it doesn't want to work. There we go. Probably one of the lift wires was hung up because they're not in the right places anymore. So look at, before you take it apart, where these lift wires are on these two lift levers and on your gong. They were just slightly above, not touching the pin. And each one of these was in their own space. Right now they're in the same space and it's making it hang up. So, but yeah, know how it goes into warning. So there's my pin. When this is locked, boop, it goes against the front of that lever, and that helps it shut off. The cam drops down. The lever drops into the cam, the pin hits the front of the lever, and the strike finishes. Then when it goes into warning, it lifts that lever up high enough for the pin to come off of the face of it, and then the wire behind it catches the pin and keeps it from striking until it all drops down again and lets it go around. And then it all drops in and locks. So that's what our goal is when we get done with this. If we have that working like that before we put the count wheel on, then we know that this part is set up right and it's locking and catching like it should. Then we put the count wheel on and we see if it shuts off or not, and if it doesn't, then it has to do with the arm and the relation to the count wheel. So don't be in too big a hurry to take it apart. Play with it a good bit first, so that you know how it's working and what you're going to do when you put it back together. Oh my gosh. So with the feet not on the other side, this whole thing is just turning and not letting me unscrew these. 3 out of 4 are unscrewing. This one is not. Put the foot back. Put the foot back the right direction. Foot so I can get the nut off that someone put such a tight crank on. And cross threaded it. Okay, that's why it doesn't want to come off, because it's screwed on cross threaded. Nuts don't go on at that angle, people. Okay, let's see if these will come out. Nope. They're hitting all of this. They won't just spin and come out before I take this apart. So that means they have to go back in before I take, like I gotta put this and then this and then this while I'm building it, because it's not gonna slip in after the fact. Alright, and here's our plate with some old junk on it. This is going to come out really good after we clean it. And there's a 17 right there stamped into the plate. I don't see anything else on it. I'm gonna get a, yucky poo. Okay, I'm gonna get a picture with the face off real quick. Alright, let's get this poor filthy clock to the movement cleaner. Pivots, lantern pinions, all that seem to be in good shape. We'll check for bushing wear once it's clean, so we can actually see the holes. That's our clicker. It's just riveted. It's got got a little piece of wire through the wheel that's bent up in the air that puts pressure on the little click spring, and it has held up well. It's got a good bit of wear on it. You can see the track that it's been running in, and there's a groove down the middle of it. It makes it look like two wheels put together. There's that much wear on the teeth of this. It's got very heavy weights on it, so it has been wound a lot. But I think that's because it's been hung short. If you don't have 10 feet of space to hang it and have it be a one day, then you're winding it 2 or 3 times a day. But, excuse me. Yeah, that's grease. That's not oil. Alright, one more bucket. That one's got a little cap on it where it has worn. We'll have to see if it's worn too small, needs a bushing there. Let's see if we can get this guy out. No, not yet. Same amount of wear on this clicker wheel. Good bit of rust on that one. Alright, I'm going to have to take this bird post wire off of here. I don't usually because they'll be okay, but this one is so huge I can't get it in my ultrasound machine with it on there. And it just unscrews, so that's good. It's not one that crimps together. And then I guess these legs don't come off. Yeah, they do. That leg's got to come off for me to turn this enough to get it off. So there's the legs. I know you should like snug things up, but they shouldn't be so tight that you mess your screw up trying to tighten it. All of these have wear on them where someone over tightened them and slipped out of the slot. The one that I need to come off is the one that's going to give me fits. Alright, well, I'm going to get this off, and get everything clean. There's no way for me to get this bird off of the post because someone has broken off the ends of the little screw right there. You can see a tiny bit of a slot. So I've got my jeweler's saw, and I put a number 7 blade in it, and I'm gonna try to just make a new groove in there. Get some of this, some cut lube. And you just draw your thing through there. And let's see where the line is, right there. So these cut, the teeth are angled this way. It cuts as you draw it towards you. It doesn't cut as you push. Sometimes you got to push it away from you to kind of score it a little bit to get it where you can drag it. No matter what, there's no way to get that off of there for me. So I cleaned up the bird post and the bird by hand, attached still. I took a little bit of rubbing alcohol, cleaned the outside of the bird. He was pretty dirty. And I did the feed and wax. I have a small, very small redstone, a little thin one that I could get in these wires and get the rust off. And make sure that both of the little wing wires are over this long wire that activates the bird's mouth. And then the feed and wax was enough lubricant to get him moving like he should. Not hanging up anymore. It was hanging up really bad. Plus this wire was not on here. So both wing wires, they hang on little cuckoo door type posts on the side of the bird, and then a wire comes out of the top and curls around this straight piece of wire that goes through the middle of the bird that's stuck in his tongue. And that's how they articulate. So this is cleaned up. Let's get the rest of the clock cleaned up. I cleaned my gong hammer by hand because it has this little insert and it's wood, so I didn't want to put that in my cleaner. So I cleaned it by hand, and then I put some feed and wax on the wood, and then I pre-cleaned my plates because they were pretty nasty. And that's just scrubbing them with a toothbrush. That's taking some mother's polish to them. So they're going to come out good. And I wanted to measure them. It's a poured plate, so it's not consistent everywhere. 2.3, 2.15, 2.2. So about 2.2 millimeters thick. 2.1 to 2.3 all across it. This cleaner is warming up, so I'll be back when this stuff's clean. Alright, on a rough, put this together and check some pivot wear. That's probably last, not first, but that's the one I'm putting in first. And then this guy. And then the warning wheel. Pin right here. Goes up in the air. Where's the hole? Alright, and then the other side has the other wheels. Not a super complicated movement. And then my fan, and I'm going to put the other plate on and just wiggle everything around and see how bad the pivots are, the pivot holes. Well, I'm missing some whole posts here. I gotta put these guys back in. I can't put my other plate on. Okay. One of these is cross-threaded, and I don't know which one. We'll figure that out as we go along. Just putting a little pressure on here to be able to put my pivots in the pivot holes. I don't have any of these levers in yet, so I'll definitely be opening this back up. Alright, everything is in the holes. So now I just want to wiggle things, get all that pivot wear. That one definitely goes side to side a lot. And it looks like it when I was cleaning it too. That one's got a fair amount, escapement wheel. Yeah, second wheel on both sides are really wobbling in the holes. So I guess we're going to do bushings all over this thing, because that's way too much for as heavy as these weights are. It is a one day, but the weights are super, super heavy, so I mean this thing is really going back and forth. Took an 1/8 of an inch it could move. Okay, next step, bushings. Also wanted to show you this U wire and V wire. When I push that to the side, can you see those grooves in there? 100 years of wear, you know you're always going to have a groove. It does hang up, catches. So I mean, you can try polishing it out, pinching it to a new spot. There's different tricks to try, but and then on the V-wire, a pretty good flat spot too inside there. So I need to find a wire that same size and bend a new one, because the new replacement one is not going to be anywhere near this size. They're like half of this size normally. So this will be a hand make job.